You auditioned for The Voice. What was that like, jumping into that world?
My wife had talked me into doing it in 2017. Was the first time that I tried it. So the open call audition was in Philadelphia, and we went to I think it was like the Expo Center that was in town, and they gathered us into a room. Once you got inside, 10 of you were grouped at once, and you each got to do like a chorus and a verse of a song.
You won a CPMA. First off, what is CPMAs?
Yeah, so it's the Central Pennsylvania Music Awards. They're put on by the Central Pennsylvania Hall of Fame Committee, so they really do a lot for the local music scene, and people get nominated in all sorts of genres, all categories, for all sorts of different awards. And it's not just music either. It's like some of the best local podcasts, some of the best music venues, music stores. I mean, it's everything to do with the local music industry within Central Pennsylvania.
What does it mean for you personally to win an award and be like acknowledged like that? Like, you're the guy we want to give this award to.
I've never made music for the express reason of getting an award, but it was a huge honor to win those.
You being in the woods and hunting is a big part of like your writing and all that stuff. Could you maybe explain a little bit about that?
Deer hunting is less hunting and more waiting. So sometimes it's easy to let your mind wander when you're in the stand, and if you're real tuned in, sometimes lyrics just come. At least that's how it is with me.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Studio One. I'm here with Cody Tyler. Tyler, how you doing? Cody Tyler. I'm using
good.
your last name now.
That's all good. I'm good. How you been?
Doing well.
Good.
How was your day?
It was pretty good. It's just that lull between Christmas and New Year's, so just been kind of laying low and hanging out and enjoying the downtime.
That's awesome.
So
I love it. Well, thanks for being here. Really appreciate taking the time to sit with me and chat.
Yeah.
We're going to get right into it. I just want to do a couple intro questions for you. So, where did you grow up? Where's like the origin of Cody?
Yeah, so I grew up in Shillington, Pennsylvania. It's right outside of the city of Reading, so it's about an hour away from here. I've lived there just about my whole life. I've lived in Berks County the whole time that I've been around, so about a good 30 years or so.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about moving out of PA?
Yeah, I know it's a possibility, especially with the music business being centered around other areas like Nashville and stuff. But I've always been one to, not want to move until you think it's really, really time to. Like Nashville is one of those things. Like when it's time to move, like that's just my philosophy on it. Some people want to go there totally fresh and relatively unknown in that town, but it seems to work out better if you wait until it comes calling to you. It seems.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. I totally agree.
But I'm open to it. So.
Yeah, that's good. How'd you first get started in music?
So I first got started in music when I met my wife. I had been sort of like casually looking around, trying to get places to play some shows and stuff. I was in college. I was pursuing a teaching degree. And I met my wife, and she's the one that sort of encouraged me to really try to make an honest effort at it. And her parents and my parents kind of pushed me with it too. And I always kind of wanted to do it, just didn't know where to start. So that was kind of the push that I needed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sometimes you just need a couple people to push it through.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then one more question for you to start out. What hobbies do you enjoy doing outside of music?
Outside of music, I do like to get in the outdoors. I finally went hunting this year for the first time in a few seasons. So that's one thing that I generally like to do. Yeah. I was able to get a doe this year. My brother got his first buck on the first day of rifle season, which was cool.
Nice.
It was neat to see. I was right there. I was just a few yards away in a blind, and he was up in a tree stand, and it was cool to be able to hunt with him. He'd been in the Army for a few years, so he finally retired, and he moved back here, and that was the first time that him and my dad and I had been hunting together in about 10 years, and
that's so cool.
He got his first buck, so that was cool.
That's amazing. I love that. All right, before we get into the meat of the whole interview, I want to play a quick game with you, just a little icebreaker. We're going to play Never Have I Ever. So I'm going to have you put up your 5 fingers. We got 5 questions for you.
All right.
If you've done it, you put it down, and I want to hear a little story behind it. So the first one is, never have I ever played a sold-out show. You did. So what show was that?
I've had a couple over the years. During COVID, it was a lot easier to have sold-out shows.
That's true.
I played our album release party that we did a little over 2 years ago. That was essentially sold out. I think we were like 10 tickets shy, but it was sold out.
Do you remember the first one? Was that the first one that you ever had?
The first one we ever had might have been in 2020. We did a show that was outdoors in the summertime. It was like towards the end of summer in August. We just kind of put it together, and we put our own lineup together, and we did it at a park outside of Reading. And that was a good time. That was definitely the first one that I can really remember. And we sold our own tickets pretty much in everything. I just remember running around like a madman, delivering tickets to people that wanted to meet up for them. Some people bought them online. It was just,
it's crazy. That's
utter
awesome.
madness. But it was 2020, so it was fun.
I love that. That's awesome. All right, second question. Never have I ever opened for a big named artist.
Yeah, I've done that too.
What's some of the names?
The most recent one was we did I-105's Fall Fest. So it's a radio station up around the Lancaster area. So we had won a contest to get on to their Fall Fest stage. So we opened up for Cole Swindell, Parmalee, Gabby Barrett, Matt Stell, and Kelsey Hart. So we got 5 names there.
Big names.
I've done some private shows over the years. We did a private show this year opening for Ellis Bullard. He's sort of a newer guy out of Texas. And we opened for Charles Wesley Godwin at that same place. Yeah, it's probably the biggest name on my personal list of people we've opened for is him. He spent a lot of time opening for Zach Bryan out on tour and things like that. And Charles is just a cool guy.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. All right, question number 3. Never have I ever played in all 50 states.
Yeah, I haven't played in all 50.
How many have you gotten so far? Do you know?
That's a tough question. Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. It's somewhere between a dozen and 20, I'd say. Yeah.
That's not bad. Are you hoping to get all of them, or are you kind of like content with the spots where you're at?
Yeah, I'd love to get all 50. I did get one of the tough ones. I've gotten Hawaii checked off. So that's checked off, but I haven't gotten Alaska. Alaska's probably going to be the toughest one.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. All right, question number 4. Never have I ever forgotten which state I was in while on tour. You go upstage, you're on stage, you're like, thanks so much. Don't even know.
Yeah, I've never forgotten. When
That's good.
I'm on tour, it's not often that I do it, but when I do, it's a big deal. So I never forget where I'm at.
That's awesome.
I hope that never happens, but
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, people get old and minds go. And, yeah.
The last question here is, never have I ever been late to your own show? So fans are waiting there, and you're like just arriving as it should be. You should be going on.
I don't think I have been late. I've been late for being early to the show.
Okay.
To the point where I've had to scramble to set up and play on time. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been late.
That's good.
Yeah, that is a good thing. That's one of my worst nightmares is being late for a show and having people that took time out of their day to come and see you sitting there waiting for you. So I don't think I've ever been late.
Just have the opener play a little longer.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks for playing the game.
Of course,
you did pretty
yeah.
well. You did well. I think you 3 down. That's I think 3 or 4 down.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
All right. So let's get into music. First off, congratulations on the new release that you have. It is
thank you.
Down the Creek. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. Thank
And that was done or released last month. I think it was last month.
Yeah. It was mid-November.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How was that? What was the feeling of releasing that one?
So we were in Nashville for the release of that one, but that was really cool to release it and to get that out there. It's a song that the band and I have been playing live for a couple of years, and I finally was able to get into a studio and record it last fall, and then we did some touch-ups on it in early spring of this year, and then the way that the story behind the song, I pretty much have to release it like in the fall, like around hunting season. So I waited to release that until 2 Wednesdays before Thanksgiving. So because there's a lot of stuff that gets released on Fridays now. So my release strategy is a little different. Like, it's cool to release singles now. There's not as many rules around it. It's better to do it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday now, or even a Thursday. But Friday, there's so many albums getting released, stuff gets lost in the shuffle now. Yeah, so it's constantly changing, the music business.
Yeah.
But so it was a good time releasing that, and I was able to play a little showcase down in Nashville the day after it came out. So it was cool to promote it that way.
Yeah, I love that. And you were saying something about you have to like release it around fall time hunting season. And I know that like your hunting season and like you being in the woods and hunting is a big part of like your writing and all that stuff. Like, could you maybe explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, deer hunting is a lot like it's less hunting and more waiting. So sometimes it's easy to let your mind wander when you're in the stand, and if you're real tuned in, sometimes lyrics just come. At least that's how it is with me anyway. I'm not sure what other songwriters' processes are and how they come up with ideas, but I feel like it comes from a different place. It's not necessarily from within you. It's just if you're tuned into it. And yeah, when I'm the most tuned in I've found is when I'm in a tree stand. So sometimes that's when the best songs come.
Can you tell how many songs you've written like in the tree stand? Like is it normally like when you're out just kind of like in that kind of time of like solitude where you're like really, really like fluid with writing?
It's not all the time, but I'd say it's the best place for me to be to get that inspiration. But yeah, out of all the ones that I've written from the tree stand, I'd say it probably makes up about a quarter of what I've released so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a pretty significant chunk,
Yeah.
I'd say.
That's awesome though. I mean, yeah, that's amazing. I want to touch base a little bit on your band and the guys, because you did a little bit of like the solo thing, right? Just Cody Tyler, but now you added and Gypsy Convoy. When were they added into your roster and your team?
Yeah, so I had just played solo a lot, and I was in a cover band called Double Crossed for a while, and then I decided that I wanted to start an original project and start making records and, sort of getting out of that club and bar scene a little bit as best that we could around Pennsylvania. It's tough to get away from that because the live music scene's different up here than it is like down south. But I brought those guys in when I was ready to start rehearsing for the record. So the bass player from that old cover band came along with, and we got a drummer and a keyboard player that he had just put an ad out on Craigslist. So we added that band that way. And now we're actually going through another transition period again where I'm hiring some new players also. We've got a killer lead guitar player that I've been working with. His name is Rafe Groves. And he has just really been something. So we've done a couple of duo shows together, and we've been practicing like crazy together and just trying to get him integrated. And so 2025's got a lot of cool stuff in store, especially with adding another guitar player into the mix. So.
Dude. I can't wait to hear all about it, man. That's awesome. We're gonna touch base on the live shows and stuff in a little bit, but I also want to not skip over. You had in your bio and your website The Voice. You auditioned for The Voice. And you went through part of the process of The Voice. So like, what was that like? Kind of jumping into that world of like the auditioning and like you see like the lines of people just waiting to audition. You're kind of like getting like tossed around in that. What was it like?
Yeah, so this was the pre-COVID process. So my wife had talked me into doing it in 2017 was the first time that I tried it. And they had open call auditions in Philly. Now you just send a video in from online somewhere. The open call is, totally virtual anymore. You don't travel like you used to. Everything's through webcams now, but I like the in-person thing because you really got to meet a lot of cool people and get to know people that way. So the open call audition was in Philadelphia, and we went to I think it was like the Expo Center or something that was in town, and they gathered us into a room once you got inside, and they broke you up into groups of 10, and they had a judge in each room. I don't know if it was a producer or what, but they had somebody in each room, and 10 of you were grouped at once, and you each got to do like a chorus and a verse of a song.
So you guys are all like sitting watching each other perform.
Yeah, we were sitting in a circle, kind of in chairs, kind of like this, and the judge was behind a table, and she had like a long list of names and stuff. So yeah, they had us broken up into those groups, and one by one, we went up and took our turns singing a cappella, doing a verse and a chorus of a song, and when we all got done, everybody sat down, and then she called out my name and one other person's name out of the 10. And she said, I want you two to stay. Everybody else, thank you for coming, but you're not what we're looking for. So they walked away. So it was me and one other person, and they made us sing, one more thing, something that was different. I guess just to make sure that you weren't like a one-trick pony, only knew how to sing one type of song. So they gave us a paper then, and they said, hey, you'll come back to this place tomorrow. It was like a studio across town. And they call it the callback audition. So I went back home, drove down to Philly the next day again, and they had you do a couple of songs for an audition. Some of them you had to do to a backing track, I guess, so they could see if you had stage moves or not. I'm not very good without a guitar, but they must have liked the tape. So they taped me and sent it back to L.A., and they said, if they like you, you'll get a call. Well, I got a call to go to Los Angeles. And they told me when I got there, they said, you're in the top 150 out of everybody that tried out this so far for this season.
Which is huge. That's huge because there's like hundreds, I'm sure like thousands, like I don't even know. I couldn't even give a number to it, but there's a lot of people.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that try out for it. And there's a lot of people that they just keep going back year after year after year. I forget how many audition processes they hold in a year. They might have been doing 2 a year at that point. But yeah, there's people that they would fly all over the place just to give it a shot. Yeah, so they said you made the top 150, and if you get in the top 75, you have a shot at a blind audition. And even sometimes the people that make that cut don't necessarily even get onto the show and get to the part with the spinning chairs. But yeah, I didn't meet any of the judges. You don't meet them until the chair spins around.
Yeah.
From what I'm told. So
This is
yeah,
all producers pretty much, just all the way up.
yeah. So they took us to a spot for our audition out in L.A. We were in a hotel and everything for a couple of days, and they took us to a spot when it was time to audition, and it was in a pretty dimly lit room, kind of vibey with candles around, and they said, all right, so do your thing. And we had picked songs ahead of time, and we did our thing, and they didn't pick me that time. They broke us up into 4 rooms, and 1 room was going to make it through. The rest didn't make it. So I was in one of the rooms that didn't make it, and they sent us on a plane home, and I tried another couple times, but I never got that far again. But I realized that I had opened for a guy that had won American Idol. It was one of the last seasons before they went off of Fox. And I just saw the way that he was touring and the way that his whole thing was set up, and he wasn't drawing that many people. And I thought, you know what, maybe those shows aren't necessarily worth it, because a lot of people get controlled by the contracts that come out of that, and they have no creativity. Like, they have no creative control over their careers anymore. Like, they own you. So a lot of people have told me from within the industry, thank God that you didn't, get recruited by them again. And thank God you didn't make it further. And they're like, don't take that the wrong way. And I'm like, no, I understand what you mean now.
Yeah, it's definitely different now.
Yeah, and I'm not bitter about it. It was a really cool experience, and that was my first time going to California, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. But I think it was meant to be, how far that I got.
Yeah. I think, definitely, like, even now in, like, the music industry now, it's so different with TikTok and all that other stuff. Like, people are blowing up that are, like, in Ohio just randomly, like, playing the piano. It's like, oh, we love what you're doing. So, like, it's so different now. But I think there is a case for both of, like, doing the audition thing and you're rubbing shoulders with, like, really, really big names if you get that far. But it's also, like, not, like, the end-all, be-all where you have to go there or you won't make it. Like, there's so many ways you can kind of do it.
Yeah, it was a learning experience, I see, more than anything. And I wrote a song on the way home, on the plane coming home, and it became one of my bigger songs, probably my biggest song out of all the ones that I've released. Yeah. So it was a cool learning experience. Yeah. And it was good to get that early on, because 2017 was the first year that I really started giving this a go. And it was good to have that early on, and to know early on that, okay, I didn't want to go about it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you rub any shoulders with, like, any of the, like, when you were in LA, did you rub any shoulders with, like, the people that actually got on stage? Or did you not? Do you not really?
Not that I can recall. It was a real short time out there. It was only a couple of days. But yeah, I don't really remember anybody from that. And honestly, I haven't really watched the show before or after.
Yeah.
I was just giving it a shot just to see what would happen. And yeah, so I if I did, I wouldn't have even known, because I haven't watched the show really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Outside of a few episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's still so cool, though. You got that opportunity, and, like, even went that far. Like, that's a lot more farther than most people have. So that's so sick, dude. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I want to jump into also some big stuff. In 2023, you won a CPMA, correct? And in 2024, you were also nominated for that. First off, what is CPMAs?
Yeah, so it's the Central Pennsylvania Music Awards. So they're put on by the Central Pennsylvania Hall of Fame Committee. So they really do a lot for the local music scene, and people get nominated in all sorts of genres, all categories, for all sorts of different awards. And it's not just music either. It's like podcasts, like some of the best local podcasts, some of the best music venues, music stores. I mean, it's everything to do with the local music industry within Central Pennsylvania.
That's so cool. Yeah. What was the experience like? Like, was the first time you went was when you won? Was that the first year that you went? Okay.
Yeah, I had been nominated for a few awards as a solo guy before Gypsy Convoy formed, and when Gypsy Convoy was formed. So I think we were they started in, I think it was 2019. So we were nominated for some awards in 19, 21, and I think the third time we had some nominations was when we won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're pretty well versed in that time, anyways. Like, you've been in since the beginning, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been part of it since the beginning, and I'm going to keep being a part of it, especially as somebody that won one of their most prestigious awards one of the years. I'm going to continue to champion them and encourage other artists to participate in it because it is a big deal. And the more we make it a big deal, the more visible we are on a larger scale as a whole for all of the great art that's being created in this area.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to continue to raise it up, whether we get nominations or not. I think it's a great organization, and it's a cool thing that they do.
Yeah. That's awesome. And what does it mean for you to for you personally to win an award and be acknowledged like that? What was that feeling like when they were like, you're the guy who we want to give this award to?
I mean, I've never made music for the express, reason of getting an award, but it was a huge honor to win those because we were nominated for Best Country Band and we won that, and that was the first one that we won that night, and I thought, okay, that's cool. We're up for other awards, but we have one. This is crazy. I can't even imagine. I didn't expect to get a second one.
Yeah.
And then they awarded us Album of the Year, and that was one of the bigger ones there. I think it was the last award they gave out that night, and that was across all genres. So we were incredibly honored for that.
That's so sick.
To get that. It was really, really neat, and wouldn't trade that for the world. That was definitely a career highlight.
Yeah. I love it, dude. I love that. I want to jump into a little bit of touring because I know that last year you had a pretty stacked year of touring. I think you did 40 plus dates, maybe even more.
Yeah, it was 40 plus with the band. When you combine the band and my solo and duo shows, I hit 101 shows this year total.
Which is crazy.
My goal was to hit 100, and I was able to exceed that by one, so that felt pretty good.
That's awesome. Does 2025 look similar?
Not yet, but I'm still working on some booking, and usually I find a way.
Yeah.
So, I don't
Do you have
know.
a new goal? Not 100, it's 120 maybe this year?
101 was a lot. I would love to match that. I'd love to exceed it. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. What's been your favorite venue you've played? So far, I know you probably played a lot of venues, but what's a standout venue that you're that was a really good time and I like that?
Definitely Fall Fest. That was in October, and so that wasn't really a venue though per se because they did it at a park.
Yeah.
But yeah, the people, it was just like a sea of people that just went on forever because it was 15,000 people, and you couldn't see where it ended because it wasn't like stadium seating; it was just flat, and it just kept going and going and going.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Another cool place we played was with our friends, the Jess Zimmerman Band. We played at Mickey's Black Box in June with them, and the show was almost sold out. That was a good time. And back in February of this year, we played with our friends Cold Spring Union at the West Shore Theater in New Cumberland, PA. That's across the river from Harrisburg a little bit and down the river some. And that was a really cool time. That was real close to getting sold out too. But just to play theaters like that and walk out and there's people up above you, there's people down below you. It's a cool feeling, and it feels like, we've come a long way from playing the old clubs and bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Makes it all worth it.
Yeah. I love that. That's great. With so many shows under your belt, is there a stand-up moment that you're that was a really great moment and I keep that? And then on the opposite of that, is there a moment that you're that was a wild time, and if I would love to forget it. Are there two moments where really positive was that was amazing, and then one that's man, that was crazy?
I don't think there's ever any really negative moments on stage, even if it's a time where the crowd is really small and there's only a couple people there. I've had some of the best nights ever just playing a small show for maybe 12 people that are really engaged. I find that even better when you have 12 people that are really focused and loving what you're doing than if I'm playing in a sports bar for, 100 people that, 95% of them aren't paying any attention. I'd rather have those nights where it's an intimate show.
Yeah.
So yeah, no matter what, there's really no bad days as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Each show's a pleasure, and there's usually at least one person that's listening and appreciating it, so that makes it worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, Cody, thank you so much for sitting down with me and chatting. Before we're done, I know we're getting close to time, but before we're done, what does 2025 look like? Do you have any music coming out? Do you have anything big happening?
Yeah, so releasing right now, we're going to try to release something every couple of weeks for at least the next year. So I've got my next singles come in the middle of January. We don't have a date set just yet, but it'll just be a couple weeks. But it'll be sometime in January. We've got a song called Harper's Ferry that's coming out. And then after that, we'll see. But I've got a 7-song solo record ready to go that's going to be coming real soon. And then I'm going to get into the studio with some of these new guys, and we're going to work on another band record as well. So yeah.
That's sick. Where can people kind of like follow along? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Is it YouTube? Where's the best spot for people to follow along?
Yeah, we're on all of the social media networks. We're on TikTok. I know TikTok's a little up in the air right now. So if you're following us on TikTok, you should come follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram's probably the best place. I post a lot of updates to my Instagram story.
Yeah.
So if people are following on Facebook, they should be able to see that because everything's synced together. But our website is CodyTylerMusic.com. So whatever your streaming service or your social media service of choice is, the link is all there on our website. So we're on all of them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Cody, thank you so much for sitting down, man. I really appreciate you being here. And make sure you guys stay tuned because Cody's actually be playing a couple of his songs for us. I can't wait to hear that. So catch you guys later. Peace.
Sit down on the bank and we light one up. Down the creek, 2 old buddies laughing. Down the creek, just old friends are reminiscing. Like a tree, we all need a little root of rain. Son, don't you bother me till my healing's done.